Yeah, well, okay, so I guess I'll just be real quick here. My one encounter with him, I went to this meeting. My channel was a few weeks old, and I started the channel because the SMO started, and I wanted to make a difference, right? But I was like, well, I was thinking to myself, I'm not going to ever be political. I'm just going to be like Family Guy, life in the city, everything's fine, and I would just be like innocent and a little bit stupid, and everyone would watch my videos, and they would learn that Russia's nice, and peace would come, right? So I was very naive, and I went to this meeting, and I came in, and they had like this big like TV looking camera right in our face, and they made us all sit down at a table. They didn't make us, but they were encouraging us to do so. And I was like a sheep. I went and sat down, and they rolled out this big TV camera, not camera, TV next to the big news camera. And Russell, who I didn't know, got on the screen. This guy who clearly had a Southern American accent, and he just was, you know how he was. He was just berating us and just like telling the truth and talking about how difficult it was and how he was taking up arms and that we were sitting safely in our city and all this stuff. And he made me feel terrible, and I was convicted. But yeah, I know now he was right, and I was just upset, and I was like, what did I get myself into here? And I was like, dang. And I was sitting there just thinking, I shouldn't have started this channel. I shouldn't have done this. And I was going to walk out and hang it up. I was like, I'm done. And I was like, but I'm on camera here. If I don't say anything, I'm just going to be one of the guys at the meeting. And if it's ever a problem, I'll be responsible for whatever happened in this meeting. So I spoke up, and I was very open, a little bit emotional. And I was like, I don't know if I didn't ask for this, and I don't know if I'm going to do this. And then another blogger that was sitting a couple of people down from me, who I met that night, he leaned forward and he addressed me, and he said it. He explained to me what Russell was saying, but in a more polite way. And so I was like, okay, all right. Okay, well, maybe, and I went home and thought about it. And it was a challenge, because I was trying to do it halfway. And basically I was challenged that either I'm going to do this and I'm going to try and make a difference, or I'm not, And as a Christian, I felt called that I had to take a chance, and I had to go, I had to move forward, and I had to be more open about what was going on. And I actually looked because I knew we were going to be talking about Russell. And there's like a 5-minute clip of that video that was saved. So if you guys want to see it, I look a lot younger, even though it was only 3 years ago. It's been a hard time, but it's on Spilinum's channel. It's a Russian channel, and if you go to popular videos and just scroll down to get 81,000, it's like you'll see a picture of Stan Film in a colorful shirt. He looks like he's happy and sitting at a conference table. So it's very interesting. But that was my experience with Russell. So my only experience in the moment, I did not like him. But as the weeks went by, I was like, okay, that guy's right and I'm wrong. And what I wanted to ask you next is, in preparing for this, my homework for this meeting with you, I saw one of your interviews of Russell, and it was a year ago or a year and a half ago, and you guys were talking about Crocus, which is a terrible attack that happened in Moscow. That you can look it up, guys, if you don't know what it is. And in that, you said that you're an atheist. But I heard that you recently got baptized. So I'm also fascinated to share this story with the audience. I want to know what's going on with you in regards to that.
I'll be happy to talk about that as well. Yes, I have been an atheist all my life. I was raised, I can say that the main reason is that I was raised an atheist. Mm-hmm. Literally, I was... I live in a Catholic region of Europe, predominant Catholic, mm-hmm. and it was very strong. The church, the Catholic Church, had a lot of influence during the dictatorship, so it lasted after that one. It's a traditional thing. And but when it came the time to baptism, when you're a child, I mean, you're not aware of anything. You're just born and you're baptized mm-hmm. when you are barely a newborn. But my father decided not to, because my father is an atheist. And he raised me as such, and he thought to himself, if he wants to become devout to something, he will choose himself when he is a grown-up man. Mm-hmm. But then, knowing the history of Portugal, being a communist, and the role of the church in the dictatorship, it made my position of atheism even stronger. Mm-hmm. Not liking the role of the church in our society. In our society, the church contributed, especially in the dictatorship time, to more ignorance, to this to controlling the minds of people to a very old-fashioned and narrow way of thinking, against knowledge. I mean, a lot of things, a lot of aspects of it that I didn't like. So I remain in this position, and throughout my travels. And I asked these questions to Russell. I remember discussing this with him because Russell was an atheist too. He became an Orthodox Christian only after he was living in Donetsk. Well, throughout my travels in Russia and former Ukraine, this is where I thought to myself that maybe the role of my education in my choices was really overlapping my real being and my real sense of being. And that in my inner self, I thought that it was time to assume. It was time to get out of the influence of the education and do my own choice. And I looked at all these examples of all these Orthodox people that I've met, including Lyudmila, for example, the widow of Russell Bentel, but not only. A lot of people that I met throughout these trips, and I had a chance to interview, others I just spoke normally, and I was really, really admired by the way they conducted their lives and the natural way they lived. Nothing like the Catholic Church, nothing like that. It's like you're talking with normal people, because I have this image of church people as strange people, you know, people that don't do the same things as common mortals do in their lives.
Yes.
You know, people that are there devoted and very focused on that and whatnot. But no, these people, these Orthodox people, they are normal people. They make jokes as you. They drink. They marry. You know, I have met priests and they're all married and they have kids. And this is a very natural thing for me. Yes. And then I thought, what are my values in life? And my values are the Christian values. That's what I uphold. I mean, I have been a communist, and like Russell said, being an Orthodox Christian and being a communist is not a contradiction. Mm-hmm. It is not. It is believing in the share of the fruits of the labor with your fellow community. Is believing in helping one another. Is believing and in connecting to others. I mean, it's all these values are very much in common with these two ideas. And then when I was in the KURSK monastery, and I got approached by this one priest, and he told me, "I will baptize you today." And I thought to myself, I had this flash, very, very few moments, and I said, "Let's go." And everyone was like, surprised with me. "Let's go, let's do this." And I'm ready. And that was it. So that ended up being shown in Portuguese media a couple of weeks after, and I got famous here by that, you know. But that's I mean, that's other story. I don't think there is a contradiction, like I said to you, for being a communist and being an Orthodox Christian.
Oh, and yeah, I didn't even think that. But,
and I have no doubt of what I've done and what I uphold now. And of course, I keep my cross, the one that was given to me in that day, and I keep it under my shirt, because Orthodox Christians do not show off.
Mm-hmm. So you went from not believing in God to believing in God, would you say?
Yes, this is true, because I think a higher entity does exist. When you don't believe, sometimes when I told myself many times that I wouldn't believe this, you really don't know what you're talking about. You really don't. I mean, when you say there is no, when you deny it, there is, I said this on conviction, but there is a bit of doubt in the back of your mind, because you really don't know. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you feel it. And that's all I can say. I mean, this is also a very private matter. Right. And I'm sure that other Orthodox people, they can relate to my words. And you don't have to be versed, for example. You don't have to know the Bible by heart. You don't have to know all these words and all these prayers by heart. Right. You know, being an Orthodox Christian reveals itself in your action towards the next person. Mm-hmm. And for me, this is what is more important. Mm-hmm. And when they asked me, "Are you sure you're ready? This is a very serious commitment." This was asked to me several times. And he said, "What? Will I change anything in my life? No. This is according to my conduct. that I already have. So I have no problem with this. This is perfectly fine, and please don't be, don't be afraid for me. And that's it. Yeah, that's basically.
No, that's good. That's good to hear. It's a well-told story. I think that it's important that we are all things to all men, and that's what you're describing. You're describing Christians that you have found that are living normal lives. They're not being weirdos. And
we're exactly weirdos.
to be all things to all men.
Yeah.
So be relatable.
Rolling?
Yes.
Did you like that clip? If so, click here. But if you love that clip, click here and watch the full video. Also remember to like, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, share before I disappear.